Good morning, YouTube. This is Chuck, and it's Tuesday, July 16th, 2024, about 6 o'clock in the morning. And as you can tell, I'm coming to you from my living room. And I want to read a couple of emails to you this morning, and it's easier to do that here on the small screen than it is to try to do it someplace else. But I told you a couple days ago, I told you about my new friend from Denver, and I kind of walked him through making contact. Well, the dog's barking now about something. Anyway, oh, by the way, those of you that ask about him, in my last video that I shot here, I mentioned that he was feeling a little bit under the weather, and that was only for about a day or so, and he bounced back right away. He's fine. So, but anyway, back to my friend from Denver. I helped him, kind of walked him through over the phone, making contact with the Sasquatch family that lives in his area. Well, the second night, the first night we made contact, the second night he actually went up into a wooded area not too far away, and actually he saw some shadowy figures and twinkle lights and so forth. And of course, he's brand new to this, and so anyway, he told me about that, and I'd by email, and I answered him back by email. And so I want to read an email that he sent. Now, this is only his third night out, and it's pretty obvious that the Sasquatch people there had their eye on him for quite a while, and he's been interested in the subject matter for quite a few years. And back when he lived in the South, he actually spent some time with a squatcher down there. So this isn't his first rodeo, but I think what ended up happening to him on his third night out was pretty remarkable. And the best way to tell you about it is just to read it to you. Now, there's a couple places I'm going to have to gloss over here because, once again, I'm trying to protect his privacy. But let me read you this. He says, I have much to report here. The most amazing thing happened tonight. That would have been last Saturday night. First, a quick reply to your previous email. Indeed, you are correct. Thank you for your reassurance. To be honest, there were a few other things that I didn't mention because I was unsure what was happening. I got to take my glasses off. I think I can see better. Yeah, I can see better without my glasses on, and I probably doesn't have any glare that way too. Anyway, there were a few things I didn't mention because I was unsure of what was happening. Whether what was happening was in my imagination or not. Actually, I sat down and began to meditate, and in the clusters of light, I could see three figures. It occurred to me that they were the three whom we had spoke to the night before. It was Nina and two young males. You might remember Nina was the one that gave him her name on that first encounter on his back porch. Because it was so surreal that I couldn't tell if I imagined it or not, I decided to go back out tonight. That would have been Saturday night. This time I took a different route and went to an area where I thought there might be even more activity. I cleared my mind and started mind speaking as I was walking. So much began to take place that it is hard to recount, but what happened was so amazing that I just have to tell you. I thought it best to try to get it in writing herein as well. So here goes. Here's my report. As I began walking down the trail into the area, I would start to hear sounds. The first thing I heard was almost, I gotta scroll this. Okay, now it kicked me out. Hang on just a second. Let me find out where I was at. Okay, this thing is kind of misbehaving this morning. Sorry about that. As I began walking down the trail into the area, let's say that, I would start to hear sounds. The first thing I heard was almost a sort of a bark, but it was not like a canine bark. It was more like the way a baboon sounds when it barks. By the way, I was totally alone. So I knew it had to have been one of them. Well, that's when the mind speak began. I believe it may have been a male who barked as either a way to let everyone know I was there, or maybe even also to let me know that he meant business. The first mind speak I got was from an adult female. I gave the traditional peace sign, and she told the male, quote, "He means peace," end quote. I assured them that I simply wanted to send my regards, and with all due respect. It wasn't long after that I seemed to get mind speak from an elder male who said, "I like you." I sensed that there were young ones nearby who were excited about hearing this. It would be difficult to recount in all entirety everything that took place from here on conversationally, but basically I began to express my concerns that I was having difficulty maintaining what was really happening with all this and what was being imagined. They began to explain to me that they knew many things about me, my work, my hobbies, and even a certain TV show that I watch. I will kind of have to paraphrase from here a bit, but anyway, basically from there, I was still kind of in disbelief. So I asked them if they had powers like the guys do on the TV show I watch. They explained to me, quote, "No, not like that, but we do have some abilities," end quote. That was when shortly after I heard the elder male speaking again. He said, "I would like to show you something." He directed me to an area nearby and said, come, the show is about to start." It was right about that time that other birds and animals began traveling to that area, so I knew exactly where to go. When I got to that area, I'll scroll again here. When I got to the area, which was an open space with many miles of clear visible distance in the surroundings, I began to see off in the distance the most amazing flashes of orange light. I had never seen anything like this in my life. There were these bursts of orange energy blasted off the skyline miles and miles away. Then I saw the same orange bursts of light, but from the ground nearby. This was them showing me where they were in relation to the light so far away, and that they were creating both lights. This went on for several minutes. The light off to the side of the sky, and then the same light nearby. It was truly remarkable and nothing short of spectacular. Let me sidebar here for just a second. I had Kevin read this yesterday, and he said that he has experienced the orange light phenomena as well. I personally have not. Let me continue. Once the show had concluded, I was so grateful. I told them thank you and how wonderful it was. It was then I began to see something forming in the brush up ahead. There had been some mind speak I had received earlier that told me they were going to manifest in a physical form for me to see. And sure enough, there they were. It was a family of 5. They had beautiful golden brown hair all over, and they were all very fit and slender looking. They waved to me, and I waved back. I knew it was time to go, as did they, and so I began walking back to my car. I received a bit more mind speak on the way back, and the one I recall was from a juvenile who said, "We haven't seen the elder do that trick in 50 years. Now, obviously, that juvenile can't be 50 years old, so that must be a part of their collective memory that he was voicing. I really didn't know what else to say. I was just grateful and humbled. It confirmed to me that everything was real, everything that night and the night before. It also made it clear to me that these Sasquatch people are everywhere in these foothills, and that they have all kinds of abilities that allow themselves to remain hidden. I got the sense that these particular Sasquatch people are not at all new to interacting with human people here, and that though most of the people who come to the area are not attempting to contact them, but they still have made themselves known to those who are paying enough attention. Anyway, I just wanted to confirm that any leftover doubt that I may have had from the surreal nature of the situation has completely left me. What an astonishing event. I'm so happy to know that they know me. You were totally right about that. Amazing. I think it's safe to say that not only do they have many abilities that we perhaps cannot fathom, they also know so much. At one point, that I knew King Yeshua, Jesus, and that made them very happy. In fact, I think that was what prompted the elder to put on the spectacular show. Chuck, I now have a new goal of moving closer to the area where the Sasquatch people live. And he goes on a little bit there, and then he says, thank you for your help. God bless you, Chuck. Keep doing what you're doing. Now, I had to read that a couple of times before it actually soaked in. And quite honestly, I did question that because this is only his third night out. And I guess in my mind, I must have been questioning that. And I actually got a little tingle as I was reading it the third time. And I kind of responded back and I said, this is pretty amazing. Did this actually happen the way he recounts it? And I got an affirmative. So I even, and that's done me. And so I even kind of asked again, and I says, did I really get that? Are you really telling me that this really happened? Can you tell me a little stronger? And yes, I got another affirmation. So I'm kind of hanging my hat on this one that it really happened. And folks, that's pretty amazing. Obviously, they've had their eye on this guy for a while, long before he reached out to me. And they were wanting to make contact with him, and now they have made contact with him. Showing themselves, the family showing themselves to him, that would be absolutely amazing. That's something I have not seen, and I would certainly like to. I've asked them many times if I could see one of them in good, solid daylight conditions, and it's yet to happen. I've seen them a number of times in the dark, but not to the point where I could even tell you what color hair they had. But anyway, while I'm here, let me read you another one. And before I go there, I've mentioned before that I had a gentleman from Russia contact me and ask me if I had any objection to him translating my A Flash of Beauty interview into Russian. He'd already contacted the folks at A Flash of Beauty and asked them if it was okay, and they had given their permission, but he asked me for my permission as well. And I told him I had no objection to that, and sure enough, he did translate it to Russian. I talked about it in a previous video and put a link in there if you want to go look at it, if you understand Russian. I don't understand the lick of it, but anyway, so apparently somebody else in Russia had, I don't know whether he'd seen that there or how he found out about it, but he found out about me somehow. And he actually reached out to me as well. So let me find that email right quick, and let me read it to you. I'm not used to running the mouse with my left hand, so I'm a little bit slow with that. Okay, this is Chuck. Hello. I'm Mikhail from Russia. Sorry for my English. I'm writing through Google Translate. I am also interested in Bigfoot. I searched for him in Russia, and I met him in the forest. I found your channel through a Beauty Flash interview. That would be my Flash of Beauty interview, but I'm not sure whether it was the English version here or the Russian version that was translated. I started watching all your videos about Bigfoot, and a lot of them coincide with my observations, especially Bigfoot Stuff number 6, Let's Talk About Zapping. It's one of my 10 Bigfoot Stuff series. And I want to tell you my story. I have been interested in Bigfoot since I was 10 years old. Now I am 46. But I have not met him all these years, although I spend a lot of time in the forest. But this year, on the night of March 8th and 9th, I had an amazing dream. I dreamed that I was in the forest in my tent, and I realized that a Bigfoot was approaching outside. He stands 5 feet from my tent, and I feel his presence. I understand that he is nearby, and then I begin to feel something I have never felt before in my life. I felt that my whole body began to vibrate, as if an electric current was passing. My hair began to stand on end, and my skin began to tingle. I repeat that I've never felt this way before. At the same time, there was no strong sense of fear in the dream. At first, there was a slight fear. Then there was a feeling of delight from the contact and complete trust. This is the most amazing feeling that I've ever experienced. Well, I've talked before about the difference between dreams and visions and visuals. And this was apparently more than a dream. It was a visual that they gave him. So let me continue. But the story didn't end there. After this dream, I began to actively travel into the forest and find tree structures of the Bigfoot. And a month ago, I went with my partner to the forest again in search of Bigfoot. It was 85 miles from Moscow. We found many wooden structures at the site. He sent me some pictures, and they look exactly like the same things that we find here. Let me scroll. And once again, the computer's playing tricks with me. It gave me a pop-up ad. I need to get rid of that. There it is. It went away. 85 miles. Found many wooden structures at the site. I'm attaching photos to the letter. I mentioned that. We set up camp and went to explore the area. At a distance of about 200 yards from the camp, we met a Bigfoot. He rushed very quickly through the forest towards our camp. It was a huge mass, but he moved very smoothly and absolutely silently. But he was not very tall, 6 to 7 feet. We were very surprised, but we didn't feel afraid. We immediately returned to the camp, and in the camp, I felt the same sensation that I had in my dream. My body vibrated just as accurately as if an electric current was flowing through it, and the skin began to tingle, especially on the crown and back of my head, and my hair stood on end. It was that aha moment. I was then overcome with a feeling of delight. I realized that Bigfoot was somewhere nearby, and mentally told him that we came in peace and just wanted to know him. But there was no answer. After 5 minutes, all sensations ended, and a half an hour later, it all happened again. There was a new wave of these sensations of electric current in the body and tingling, which lasted 5 minutes, then it was all over. There was a thunderstorm that night, but at 1 o'clock in the morning, there was silence and blows on the trees could be heard. Someone knocked on the trees with a stick several times. That would be the wood knock sound. They don't actually beat on trees. They make that sound. And 100 yards from the tent, we heard a whistle. It was solitary and very unusual. Definitely not a bird or animal. Rather, it sounded like a child's squeal from low to high sounds. On July 19th, I'm going to the same place again. It might be interesting to try to establish contact for you with your Bigfoots, and for them to contact the Bigfoots who are at my point. It will be an interesting experience of connecting across the ocean. I can mentally tell them that I know Chuck from Arizona. His name is Wista. But last time I didn't receive any mental images. Anyway, wishes me best wishes. So that's two kind of interesting emails that I've received out of a number of them. I have some other people that have told me they want to contact me to tell me their stories as well. But I figured the best way to tell you about these was simply to read them to you. So I'm reading them off of my laptop. So as I always do, let me tell you to take care of each other and love each other. And there's been some very interesting stuff happening here, and the ball's rolling and getting bigger, and the crazy train just keeps on chugging. So this is the first take on this. I think I got it. It's a beautiful morning here. We had nice rains the last couple of days, so for our area anyway, we don't have to worry about wildfires anymore this season. So for right now, until I talk to you again, I'll be back with you with another one. But for right now, let me just tell you, peace out.